Alright guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching my last videos if you did. And today I kind of wanted to touch on a topic that I remember when I first got my real estate license. It's the first thing I searched, and I think it's probably the first thing most realtors search, or just people in sales in general. And that's how to make your first $100,000. So before we delve into the video on how to actually do that in a very simple way, I think it's kind of important to talk about why people view this $100,000 as like the starting point, I guess, for sales, or at least sales in general. I'd say once you hit $100,000, it kind of gives you, well, one, it gives you some confidence, and two, it gives you margin in your life to actually do things with. So I noticed once I hit that point, it gave me some extra money to, like invest in real estate, or just start living a more comfortable life and not really thinking about a ton of stuff all the time as far as financially. It kind of gives you just margin in your life to figure out what you really want to do, what you want to invest in, what kind of lifestyle you want to live, and all that. So I'd say that's the biggest reason people think about it, is like 100,000 gives you margin in your life, and that's probably the absolute biggest thing. And it's really more doable than I think a lot of people think. I remember when I first Google searched it or YouTube searched it, a lot of the people that were talking about it were like way beyond 100,000. So it was kind of hard for me to relate to them. So I did wish there was someone who was like actively making, between 100 and 250,000 to make a video on it. And that's kind of what my goal with this one is, to show you that you can do it, and there's plenty of people out there doing it, and it's not as hard as you think. And you don't have to be making $1 million a year. If you want, starting at 100,000 is like the first step. So let's kind of get into that in this video. But more than anything, just kind of want to make this again to remind myself to just to look back on this and all that kind of stuff. So if anyone's watching and you're a realtor or really any kind of sales, this video is just going to be a super simple way to keep yourself on track to making that 100,000. I noticed along the way you can really get caught up in trying to do too much, so I'm just going to keep it as simple as possible. And if I was a new realtor, this is exactly what I do. I'll kind of touch on what I'm already doing now too. So let's start the video and let's dive into it. Alright guys, so here's my board that I'm going to use for this demonstration, or at least what I'm going to talk about here. Like I said, it's going to be extremely simple, because I noticed the biggest mistakes I've made is when I overcomplicate things. And maybe that's just a me thing, but sometimes when you get too detailed, it makes it really hard to focus, and you just feel like you can't do what you need to do. So let's start with this box right here. So you're basically going to need to break down what you actually need to do to make that 100,000, or whatever your goal is. But for this video, it's 100,000. So another thing I noticed when I looked it up was like my average sales price where I'm at is way different than where most people on YouTube are at. So our average sales price is rather low at $275,000. So we're going to use that for this example. Basically, you would just plug in your average sales price wherever you're at, and then here we go, do the math here. But if our average sales price is $275,000 and our average commission is $8,250, so that's 3%, assuming you only work one side of the transaction, or if your area is 2.5% or whatever it is, plug that number in here, and you're gonna multiply that number by 12 to get how many homes you need to sell that year to actually hit your goal. So if you did 13 homes at $8,250, you'd just be a little over that gross commission of $100,000. And this, for these examples, for at least a new realtor, or what I did, or what I still would do if I was new, we're gonna use free lead gen sources, because you can definitely pay for leads now, which our team does a little bit of that now that we actually have some money. But assuming that you have no money, like when I started, you had no dollars, you need to pick some lead sources that are free. If it were me, I would pick these three right here. You can really pick any that you want. But my lead sources would be FSBO, so those are for sale by owners. So a lot of those people are trying to sell their house themselves, and sometimes it may or may not work, and you're there to basically help them if it doesn't work. So a little side note, I guess, of my strategy for that would be just be a resource for them. You're a new agent, and the best thing you have that you can offer is your time. So I noticed just me being available for them when I first started was huge, because other agents that are busy don't really have time to talk to someone who may or may not do business with them. So you're really going to want to call them, go look at their house in person, set up an appointment, and just let them know, hey, I'm a resource for you. You can reach out anytime if you need help with finding an attorney, title, abstracting, or whatever. Just constantly be there. And if for some reason they don't sell, which most of them typically don't, or at least for the price that they want, hopefully you're the one that's top of mind. So you got to be top of mind for these people. Call them, text them, email them, figure out your own follow-up schedule, but make it pretty simple, maybe once a week or something like that just to start. But almost every market has for sale by owners that you can find on Zillow for free. Next would be expireds or canceleds. I still do this, but you can pick up a few of these pretty easily. Just people that had their house for sale with another agent. Usually they're not happy with that agent, so call them once they come up on the MLS first thing in the morning. You can find their number on white pages, or literally you could just pay and you can get pretty much anybody's number anymore. So once they come up as an expired or canceled, you're just going to call them, ask why it didn't sell or why they think it didn't sell. If they weren't happy with their agent, what weren't they happy with? That's going to give you a leg up so you can explain to them, what you're going to do differently and that kind of stuff. Again, these are kind of low-hanging fruit that not a ton of agents that are selling a lot of houses do because they don't really have the time for it. But this is a great way to pick up, 1 or 2 listings, maybe a month. And then third, I would say open houses can be really good for buyers. So you obviously probably don't have a ton of listings, so I would just go around my office and ask people if I can hold an open house for them. And when I did, I'd print out my open house sheets. I'd have people, put their name and number down when they came to the open house. You really want to make the most out of this, because if you get someone that comes, this is another free lead if they're not working with an agent already. So you're just really going to sell yourself more than the house when they come to the open house, and just position yourself as the expert. Explain to them, if you don't buy this house, I'd be more than happy to help you with any other house. Get their contact information, and again, follow up with them. The biggest thing in real estate is just following up. So you're going to probably, I think on average, you're going to talk to someone 7 times or contact them before they do business with you. So any of these lead sources, you're going to want to just make sure you have a good follow-up system. You can get a CRM for really cheap. You can use a Google Sheet. You can use a notepad and paper, whatever's best for you. I've tried a ton of different things and tried to complicate it a ton, and I just found a simple CRM and a simple Google Sheet is the best way to keep track of when the last time you talked to people is, the last touch, the last thing they said, all that good stuff. And this is a different lead source is social media. It's not something I'm super good at, clearly, because I'm sitting here making this video and no one's watching. So if you're good at social media, you can definitely, it's a good way to get inbound leads so you don't have to do the chasing. I would still pick 2 of those things and couple it with social media. And you're going to want to do social media anyway, just posting your success out there when you sell a house and stuff like that to your sphere of influence. But most people aren't going to be able to really get leads from that right away. It's something that it's going to take a while to cultivate. But there are people that are super good at it and make a killing doing it. So if you're one of these people, definitely play into your strength there. But yeah, these are the 3 that I would pick. Again, you always use social media as a realtor, but I'm talking about if I'm doing these 3, I'm just kind of posting when I sell houses and that kind of stuff. But if you're good, use social media, make some reels, TikToks. That's your guys' thing, because I don't really know what makes that good. And then after you pick your 3 lead sources, how you're going to follow up with them, now you're basically just going to execute and do the thing for 365 days. So in real estate, it's super unlikely you're going to call someone and they're going to answer the phone and they're going to want to list or buy with you. That's not really how it works. So it took me, I think, 45 days to sell my first house. I think the first 15 days I got a lead from my broker. It was a super cheap house, but it kind of gave me some momentum. So keep in mind too, just being around the office and picking a good office with good people. There's a lot of agents that are too busy, and if they have a $50,000 to $100,000 lead, they don't want to work. Again, you want to be top of mind for those people to give you your lead. So really all you need to do to make that $100,000, at least in real estate, if you're doing a different kind of sales, just plug in the same numbers here, whether it's cars or insurance or whatever it is. But really all you need to do is pick 3 things and execute on them for 1 year, and almost nobody can do that. I think the failure rate for realtors in the first year is like over 80%. So as long as you can do these 3 things, all you have to do is sell 1 house a month. So you got to think, if you're putting in 40, 50, 60 hours a week, it's going to be really hard for you not to sell 1 house a month. You're probably going to end up selling more if you do that stuff, but it's really just the execution. And I've made plenty of mistakes with this myself, so I'm just speaking from experience here. Just pick a few things and just do them consistently over and over and over and over, and just do that for 1 year, and then pick your head up and see where you're at. I would guess most of you are probably going to be at or above your goal if you do this, regardless of what the real estate market's like or anything like that. So if anybody does watch and you have any specific questions about these, I can make another video on how to follow up with them, how to work those leads and stuff like that. But that's what I have. keep it simple, stupid. That's kind of my strategy. This is really all you need to know to make $100,000 in real estate. So you can kind of execute on this. Take what you like from this board and just go from there. But yeah, so that's my simple strategy to make your first $100,000 selling houses. All right, so I hope that was a super simple breakdown of how, if you're a realtor or any kind of sales, how you can make that first $100,000. Again, just to wrap it up, I think it's really just a big thing for people to feel financially comfortable. It makes you more confident. It makes you feel like a better person. So again, tying into my channel here of just trying to better yourself, you're going to feel better if you're making more money and your business is doing well. And if you're like me and you don't have a college degree and you really didn't have anything else to do, you get into sales, and if not everyone's going to be good at sales, but if you're a people person, you can understand how to work with people and meet people's needs and all that stuff. It's definitely a great career if you can do it. But it's a good place to start. I would say, I've been doing it for almost 5 years now. I can't really imagine myself doing anything else. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this. If anyone's watching it, hope it helped you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you want me to make another video about the different kinds of lead sources, how I follow up with them, how to work them, and all that kind of stuff, just let me know and I'd be more than happy to. So again, probably nobody's watching, but if someone does, hope this helped you. Thanks.